everybody. Welcome to the Not Your Average Knits podcast. This is episode number 8. I am kbridgeo. You can find me on Ravelry as kbridgeo and on Instagram as Not Your Average Knits. And also please join our Ravelry group, which is also called Not Your Average Knits. Today is June 10th, a Saturday. It is very sunny outside today. We are experiencing a bit of a heat wave in the Boston, Massachusetts area. It's been very cold and rainy a lot so far in May and June, so it's kind of nice to see the sun out there. I did want to start by saying I kind of apologize for it being 2 weeks since I've done my last podcast. Hopefully not too many of you were worried or looking for my latest episode. Things have just been a little bit crazy around here. Both my husband and I were sick a little, and when you're just not feeling well, you don't even feel like knitting, you know something's definitely wrong and you're not at your best. I think too in the summer it's going to be a little bit challenging to do a podcast every week. Some weekends I just won't be around, which means I won't be knitting much, which then just means I just won't have a lot to show every week. So it may be more like 2 weeks or 10 days or something like that. So just kind of a heads up on that. But if you do subscribe to the podcast, you can then choose to get a notification either by email or just within YouTube when the next episode is posted. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please do and go do that now. So I wanted to first jump in and mention that the Foxtails shawl by Gabrielle Knits that I had test knit a while back is now up for sale, is now published and available for everybody. So I will put a picture here so you can just be reminded of how amazing it was. Again, absolutely one of my most favorite things that I've ever knit. It can be done in lots of different weights. I think it was written in sport weight, but I did mine in DK. Just a really fun knit and a gorgeous finished product. So definitely go check that out. I will put all of Gabrielle's information below. Also want to talk about what's happening right now. So the Game of Thrones knit along is officially launched. We already have some works in progresses going on. In the Ravelry group, there is both a chatter thread and a finished objects thread. So definitely jump in and join the fun. Again, this knit along is just sort of anything Game of Thrones themed to kind of get excited for the premiere that's coming up on July 16th. You can knit or crochet with any sort of Game of Thrones themed yarn. You can use a pattern that has some sort of Game of Thrones themed name, even if it's just sort of a keyword that sort of makes you think of the show when you see it. Very, very flexible knit along, crochet along. So that's been going on since June 1st. There will be some prizes. I already showed a couple skeins of yarn from Woolfiend, so those will be included in upcoming prizes. And then a couple more came in, so I do want to take a chance and take a minute and show those now. So the first one that came in is from Down Sheepy Lane. She sent a skein of her yarn, which is on her Sparkle Sock base, which is 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and 5% stellina. And this colorway is called Bring Me My Dragons. So there's the color right there. Really pretty green. Again, this is Down Sheepy Lane. She also included a really fun dragon progress keeper. So this will be one of the prizes. As I had mentioned last time, I'm going to do some prizes right before the premiere, depending upon kind of how many finished objects we have the week leading up to the premiere, and then I'll do more prizes at the very end, which will be after the finale, which is on August 27th. So the week after that, or the podcast after that, I will announce some more of the sort of final prizes for everyone that is finished. The other prize that came in, so this is from Yarn Candy Studio. I've shown some of her stitch markers before, progress keepers. I bought the Disney set that had Mickey, Minnie, Tigger, and Eeyore, so I'd shown those. She saw that I was doing the Game of Thrones knit along, and so she gifted these to do for a prize as well. So there's a bunch of them here. So you can see this is the compass. Then we also have a dragon. Then we have a ship, a tall ship. Then we have a crown, which is really cool too. You can see that. And the crow. or the raven, I guess, either or. So thank you very much to Yarn Candy Studio for that. So this is her card. And as I mentioned last time, she also provided a coupon code for us. So the code KAYAK10, KYAK10, will get you 10% off, and that is good until July 1st. So if you want to get, your own Game of Thrones stitch markers, if you don't think you're gonna win the prize, she also has a bunch of other ones too. So take advantage of that. I think that's it for the knit along. I will show you what I'm working on when I get to that section of the podcast. But definitely join in. Like I said, if you don't watch Game of Thrones, you can still participate. It's really kind of a very, very flexible theme. So head on over to the Not Your Average Knits Ravelry group, check out the chatter thread, check out the finished objects thread, and looking forward to seeing what everyone's posting and making. So on Instagram, if you do post anything, I'd love it if you could use the hashtag KYAKGOTKAL, so I can kind of keep track of what everyone's working on. So it's really been great to sort of see what everyone's coming up with. So to jump into what I've done, so this was actually, I just blocked it last night, so it's still a little bit damp, but I did want to show you. So I finished my worsted boxy by Joji Locatelli. So this is sort of my first real sweater. So it's done, so I'm so excited. So you can see the neckline. Let me just kind of put it all up there. So this was knit in Malabrigo Rios in the Tranquilo colorway, which is really pretty, kind of multiple shades of purple and lavender. Fairly easy construction. I did it seamless for the body, and then you only just have to seam the shoulders, and then you pick up stitches for the sleeves. Now the sleeves are super short because the body's constructed so that it's very boxy, and the body almost becomes part of the sleeve because it's so wide. So I'm excited about it. It definitely stretched when I blocked it, but like I said, it's still a bit damp, so I think once it dries, I'll be able to get a better sense of how big it is. I did knit the medium size. I think I stayed pretty true to pattern for the medium sized. I do wish I had done a little bit more. So on the bottom, there's a 1x1 rib. You only do it for like an inch or a half inch or something, and I wish I had done it a little bit bigger because it's kind of folding up a little bit. And I did try to kind of block that flatter, but it still folds up a little. But anyway, no one's really going to see it because it's going to be so low. So I had fun, so I'm really excited. So whether this will be my Rhinebeck sweater or not, we'll see. I'm definitely on a sweater kick now, and I want to make more, so we'll see. So after it dries, I'll take a couple pictures with it on so you can see what it looks like. But I'm psyched. So I was definitely, I think last podcast, I was like here and hadn't even done the shoulders of the front, and then I still had to do the whole back and the sleeves. So I've definitely been working on this a lot. It's actually been done for almost a week. I just was kind of lazy about taking the chance to block it. So I'm excited. So that's my full and pretty much only fully finished object. The other thing that I did finish, so I was working on this test knit for Laura Beth Knits, and this pattern is actually now released as well. So this is called the Cabled Argyle Socks. So that's it right there. Let's see here. So you can kind of see how the main part of the sock is cabled, and it makes sort of this argyle pattern all the way down the front of the foot. This was knit with Knit Picks Hawthorne fingering in Berry Smoothie. Let me take it off the blocker so you can see the front better. So it's a really cool pattern. I really liked it a lot. I mean, for me to do cables on a sock when I haven't really been doing socks for a while, I was a little worried about it, but I mean, it's really straightforward, and I think the fact that you're just doing it on one side of the sock too doesn't seem too tedious. I knit the medium sized. My feet are about a 7.5 to 8, and it fits me great. Haven't blocked it yet. I probably won't. I mean, I'll block it, but I won't stretch it or anything because it fits really well. So yeah, so definitely it's a fun pattern, something really different that I haven't seen before. So go check that out on Ravelry and follow Laura Beth Knits on Instagram, and I'll put all of her info below. Okay, so that is what I am done. So now what I am doing. So first I need to show you this bag, which is what I got, but you're gonna have to see it now because this is, oh, it's gonna get blown out a little bit. So this is from Woodsy and Wild. Let me show you her card. So that's her card. I'll put all her info below. So this is Shannon. So Shannon put in her Etsy shop an ability to custom design a bag with her. So between the starting point knit along, which is what's in here, and all of sort of the find your fades, she offered the chance to kind of work on coming up with a fabric with her that would match the different projects that you're working on. So I was doing the starting point, so she saw a couple pictures of the yarn I chose, and we just kind of looked at a lot of different fabrics. And I was definitely, I think, a difficult customer because I just, I wanted it to be the perfect fabric, and I just kind of couldn't really decide what I wanted it to be. And this is the first bag I have that's significant in size. And since I do want to do some sweaters in the future too, I wanted this to just be a bag that I would love using, and it is. So we ended up deciding on this fabric, which is a really cool sort of off-white color, and then has all these neat sort of graphic dots on it in different colors. And then the bottom, it's a little more of like a denim color. I don't know if the blue is really showing well, but it's very much a denim color on the bottom, and it's great. I love it so much, and I feel like it doesn't look that big to look at it, but it fits a lot. So I mean, this is 5 caked skeins of yarn, and what I'll show you in a minute with my starting point is 1 complete side and then the start of another. So there's a lot in here, and I don't feel like it's a huge bag, which is nice. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the Mystery Knit Along by Joji Locatelli, starting point. So again, like I've done in the past couple episodes, I'll put all of the timestamp info below if you want to skip ahead and not see what I've done. I've done through the end of Clue 4, but I am going to talk a little bit about Clue 5 because she did release that this week. So spoiler alert. Okay, so as you've seen before, the starting point is knit in 2 identical pieces. So I'm finished through Clue 4 on the first part. Did actually start the second part. I hadn't started that yet because in order to do Clue 5, which actually combines the parts together, you have to have both finished. So I won't be able to do Clue 5 for a while because I'm doing the other half. But I didn't really I was working on a lot of projects and sort of didn't want to necessarily give all my knitting time to this project. So I'm sort of completely comfortable with just doing one half and finishing the shawl as we go along. Okay, so this right now is on 2 holders, so you won't get the full effect, but so this is it. So I took all my progress keepers off, but I think Clue 1 was like to here, Clue 2 was like to here, and then I think Clue 3, I don't know, was maybe after the twisted rib part, and then this was Clue 4, these 2. So the ends is this, so it's turning into a rectangle, and then the top is still a pointed triangle. So what's cool is that in the next Clue 5, after you have 2 complete pieces, you sort of join the other one here, because imagine if these 2 are point to point, this would be another triangle. So you join it here, and then you actually fill in kind of the missing triangle pieces on both sides. So it creates kind of another geometric shape that way, which is really cool. So I'm kind of excited to eventually get there. And like I said in the beginning, I wasn't convinced. So like when I was just doing this part, which had a lot just kind of shorter rows, I wasn't sure how I felt about it, mainly because of my colors. But once the sections got to be bigger and wider, I like it a lot more, and I'm a lot happier with my color choices. I think they blend a lot better. This lacy part is really cool, and then this is like a big, I don't know if you can see, but has like a row of a lot of eyelets in the dark blue. So I'm happy with it. I am really happy with it. So the other second piece, I'm still on clue 1 for the second piece. So this is there. So I still have a long way to go. But I'm excited by it. So the yarn I used, again, was 3 skeins of Madeline Tosh. Oh, the sun went away. Madeline Tosh Twist Light, and then 2 skeins of Madeline Tosh Merino Light that I just had in my stash that I've purchased over time. So was kind of happy to be able to use stash yarn for all of that. So that is one thing I'm doing. Something else that you have seen before. So this is the Lemmy K by Isabel Kramer. I think I showed it on the last episode. Not really a lot of fun stuff to see because it's just sort of stockinette and increases right now because it's a triangular shawl. I mean, I think I was like maybe here last time, so I've made a little bit of progress. This goes pretty quick, and it's definitely a mindless knit, so I'm going to probably work on this a lot more in the days coming up just to kind of mix it up a little bit. So yeah, so that's that one. So this is made with Woolme's, Roar Spots and Woolme's DK yarn, and it's fun. I'm really enjoying it so far. I can't wait to get to the end of the shawl, which has more of like a pretty kind of cable and lace edge. So that will be fun when I get to that point. So this is in my Bags by Awesome Granny bag, which I've had for a little while, with the polka dots in the middle and the fun owls on the outside. Okay, so next are 2 things that you haven't seen before, but I have talked about both of them, sort of, kind of. So this next thing is in my Mrs. Brown's bag. This I had talked about is a new release from Andrea Mowry, and it is in sort of her fade kit. I don't know, her fade fad, I suppose. So it's her newest release, and it's a shawl, and it just uses 3 colors. So I am using all Wool and Boon yarn, which, as you know, I adore, and I think Sonia is awesome. So these are the 3 colors that I'm using. So this is her Woodland color, this is Ever, and then this variegated one is Heartland. I'll just show you kind of what her bands look like. So it's her Boon Classic base, which is 100% superwash merino, 4-ply fingering. Ever is that one, and Heartland. So this is what I have so far. So it's just the end of a shawl, so you're just sort of increasing and decreasing to make sort of this shape. There's some garter in there. There's, sorry, the needles are banging, some eyelet rows. One of the things that's cool too about her eyelets is that there's two different sizes of eyelets. So some of them are smaller and some of them are bigger. So that's kind of cool. That's something different that I haven't seen before. So I still have a little ways to go just on this color. And then I decided I'm going to do the green next, just because I love these 2 colors together and I wanted them side by side. And then the Heartland. Now, I really like the Heartland with the cream color too. So what I think I'm going to do is, even though it's written for 3 colors, I'm going to go back and add more of the white on top and finish with the cream. There's a sort of, I think, like a picot edge. So I think, I'll do the majority of it in the main 3 and then just do a little bit and then the edge in this cream color. So I think it'll look kind of cool, because I had such a hard time deciding what order to do this in. So this way, at least every color touches the other color at some point. So that will make me happy. So I have a little ways to go, I think, until I join the green in. So yeah, so I'm pretty excited about that. So this is fun. It's fairly mindless. Some parts of it, the eyelets, I have to pay a little bit more attention to, but it's been fun. So I'm really excited to kind of join in on the fade phenomenon, since I hadn't done any of her patterns yet of the fades. And I've been dying to use this Wool and Boon yarn, so I'm really excited to finally be doing a project with that. So that's that I'm doing. And then finally, in my Mr. Indigo's bag, which is definitely one of my favorites. It's so soft and smushy. I love the interior, and then it has the magnets. So this isn't a bag that I'll take with me just because I don't want anything to fall out since there's no zipper. But it's a great bag just to sort of have on the couch with the yarn just feeding through because there's no zipper to get caught on. So anyway, but I think I showed this bag last time. So in here is the project that I'm working on for the Game of Thrones knit along. So when Wolfiend sent me the yarn for the prizes for you guys, she also kindly gifted me a skein of her Game of Thrones colorway High Garden, which I had shown I think in the skein last time, and this is it sort of balled up. It's a very like a pink rosy champagne kind of color, the base of it, and then just has sort of random speckles and splotches of maroons and purples and blues and navy blues. And so what I did was go stash diving and found these 3 minis that I bought not too long ago. I think I have showed it on a podcast before, from Leading Men Fiber Arts. So it was a kit of 5, I think, but I pulled these 3 out so far, just because I thought they were really good accent colors with sort of the splotches of color that's in the Wolfiend yarn. So I decided to design a shawl, and so it's been fun. So it's been great to kind of get back into designing again, and then to use some of the yarn that I've recently purchased, and then for it to be part of the knit along is pretty cool too. I don't know what I'm going to name it yet. It will definitely be a Game of Thrones themed name, so I'm open to suggestions if anyone has suggestions. So it's going to be a crescent shaped shawl with an eyelet edge. So I'm playing with some texture in the main color, and then I'm doing sort of some eyelet sections where I'm putting in the minis. And I really kind of like how that's coming out. Like, it made really, really big holes, and I just like kind of the way it looks with the way it sort of pulls down that main color. So I'm pretty excited about those. Like, the way it came out, pretty neat. So I'm still kind of playing around. So I'm going to, do another section in the main color, and then another stripe in the third of the 3 minis that I have, and then probably hold off on the minis for a while and do like a bigger section in this color, and then put the minis in. I don't know. I'm just kind of playing as I'm going. So I think it's going to sort of turn into somewhat of like a sampler shawl with like different patterns and textures in the main color, and then just these sort of eyelet color sections for the minis. So it's been kind of fun. So I'm enjoying working on this. And again, I really love the yarn. Try to show you a close up of how the colors are playing. So you can kind of see how the splotches in this yarn really kind of match those minis pretty well. There's just the maroon and the red and the blue. There's like a big section of maroon and blue right there. So I like it. So I'm having a lot of fun. So thank you to both Wolfiend and Leading Man Fiber Arts for the inspiration and having yarn that goes well together, even though it wasn't intended to. So that's my work in progress for the Game of Thrones knit along. So again, if you have any ideas of names, maybe once it's finished, then we'll sort of see what name it screams at me. But we will see. Let me show you so this is the Wolfiend label. So it's her MCN sock, which is 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon, 400 yards fingering, and the colorway was High Garden. So I think that's it for what I'm doing. Now let's show you a little bit about what I got. So first I ordered some stitch markers, progress keepers. I say those interchangeably, so hopefully you know what I'm talking about. I use them interchangeably as well. So these are from Knitty by Nature, which is Melissa. So the ones I ordered from her, so I ordered a sort of a progress keeper holder, so something that I could hang all of my progress keepers on. So it's this cute little flower. So it has a clasp on top, and then obviously you clasp all the other progress keepers on it. So I bought this little coffee cup, and I like that it's sort of bronze. It's just a little bit different than what I've had before. And then I also bought this cupcake, which is cute. Now I have so I'll tell you this. So at work, a couple weeks ago, we had this sort of big meeting where there were people from a couple different divisions. So we sort of all went around and introduced ourselves just to make sure everyone sort of knew everyone. And the person that was sort of facilitating said, oh, give some sort of fun fact about yourself that, maybe people don't know. So it was neat to kind of see what everyone said as they went around the tables. Really, really interesting things. So obviously my fact was that I'm an avid knitter and that I design and sell patterns, and then that I just, started this podcast not too long ago. So it was sort of interesting to see people that were surprised or, so I'm curious to sort of find out who in that group maybe knit themselves or maybe would be interested and maybe found my podcast and maybe you're watching it right now. Anyway, so it reminded me that I thought it would be fun to do sort of a segment to do kind of fun fact about me to you guys. So obviously you know that I'm a knitter, but there is, a lot of other things you don't know about me. Anyway, so I was reminded when I saw this cupcake. So I have a gluten allergy, which maybe isn't a fun fact. It's not a very exciting fact, but it's definitely something that's sort of a part of my life and who I am. I was diagnosed, I think back in 2008, and only really because my nieces were diagnosed with it when they were really small. They just sort of kind of discovered it in one of my nieces and then tested the whole family, and one of my other nieces has it as well. And it does have kind of a genetic component to it, so I got tested and ended up having it as well. So I've been gluten-free since then. Things have come a long way. There's a lot more available food out there. A lot more restaurant chains have menus, and it used to be really bad back in the day, but now the food's tasting a lot better and there's a lot more variety. But cupcakes, getting back to the stitch marker, is something that I miss a whole lot. There is a gluten-free bakery in my town, so I try to go there whenever I can. It's just certain things like that you just miss, and that sometimes just never taste the way that you remember them. At least my nieces, they were little enough that they don't know what something with wheat actually tastes like, but I do. I remember, and I miss a lot of things. I think I miss Kit Kats and Twix bars, I think the most, and probably donuts. Things you just can't. Or Twinkies. Ugh. Anyway. Okay, so those are the progress keepers I got. Fun fact with Kim today. And so Melissa also sent me a butterfly, which is super pretty. So that was nice. So on top of that, she sent some progress keepers as a giveaway to you guys. They're not Game of Thrones themed. So what I'm going to do is save them and do a 500 subscriber giveaway. I think we're close to 250 or 300 right now. So when we do hit 500, whenever that may be, hopefully not too long after the Game of Thrones knit along is over, I will have some prizes for that. There's a couple other prizes too that I'm hoping to get soon to do for a 500 subscriber giveaway. So if that's something you're interested in and going to want to participate in, make sure you subscribe if you haven't yet, so that we can do that giveaway when the time comes. Anyway, so that's my Knitty by Nature progress keepers. I've shown you yarn and projects that I've used with Little Bean Loves. Kayleen has a podcast as well, which is really interesting. She just actually posted a segment on how to use a sock knitting machine, which she's talked about before, but I've never actually seen it in action. And she showed how you can use it to make hats with some of her yarn. So that was really interesting. I'm always sort of intrigued by dyeing and weaving and spinning, and all of this machine knitting was really cool too. So things that I probably won't pick up, but I always sort of in the back of my head, I was like, oh, that would be really cool to do something like that. But so it was neat to kind of see the process and how it works. Anyway, so she posted a shop update last weekend, and I had to take advantage just because she had a few different things that she doesn't typically have in the shop. So I sort of jumped at that chance. So if you remember when I did the rainbow shawl that I had done, the pattern from Wool and Berry, I had used Little Bean Loves, her rainbow grainbow kit in yak yarn. So I guess she had some skeins left over and she dyed them. So this is her yak yarn, and the colorway is Beau Baton. And this is really pretty blues and grays, and even has, yeah, you can see it right there, some dark purple. So this is her, there we go, yak sock. which is superwash merino, yak, and nylon, 437 yards. So this is the same yarn that was from that rainbow set. So I don't have much of the rainbow colors left. I'm using those in my Cozy Memories blanket, but there is a pretty decent amount of the gray, which I think will blend really well with this. So I think is just kind of an accent color or extra gray maybe on the edges of whatever I make. But again, I loved working with the yak. So when I saw she had some more yak, I bought some of that. Then she also had some yarn in a tweed base. For whatever reason, I'm a sucker for tweed yarn. One of the yarn boxes a while ago was a tweed yarn, and I totally can't think of the brand right now, but and I just loved it when it came in. And then my friend Caitlin, I think, sold me hers, or we traded colors or something, I don't remember. And then someone else was selling from overstock that they didn't want, and I bought some more of that, I think, or maybe I even bought from this company's website. I don't remember, but either way, and I've never even knit anything with tweed yarn, but I just kind of love the look of it, whether it reminds me of like a grandfather's sweater or something. I don't know. I just love the look of it. But again, haven't knit anything with it. So anyway, so one of Kayleen's colorways is prongs, which I've always been intrigued by and wanted to buy something in that color. And she dyed this tweed yarn in prongs, so I bought a skein of that. So this is that. It's a really cool, so you can see sort of the tan base, and then it's got like kind of a rusty brownish red color and some green and some kind of teal and blue in there. I just really, really like this colorway. You can see the rust there. Anyway, so the tweed is just really cool, so I'm excited about this. I don't know what I'll make with it, but then finally, she also does sock blanks. As you know, the only other sock blank I've got is from Andre Sue Knits, which was that really fun comic book wham bang pow thing. And the next socks that I make, I'm definitely using that. I'm kind of making sure that I use that blank. But so Kayleen had some sock blanks, and she had this one that was rainbow colored. I'll show you a picture of it all kind of spread out, but this is it all rolled up. So you can see, and this is folded in half, but so it's got the red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. And it just has like lots of kind of fun splatters on there. You can see all the different colorways in there. Again, I'll put a picture so you can see it all spread out. So I knew I was going to make some sort of shawl or wrap or scarf or something with this. And so sock blanks can come either single knit or double knit. And I think I've talked about this before. If it's single knit, it just means you have one strand and it goes down the whole sock blank. So if you're making socks, you're not going to have identical socks, because as soon as you're done one sock and you pick up the next sock, it's going to be a different piece of color within that blank. A double knit one is actually a piece of fabric like this, but it's double knit. So there's 2 strands of yarn in every stitch in this blank. So you actually have 2 strands. As you unravel the blank, 2 strands are unraveling at the same time. So it's picking up on the same exact colorway and sort of the pattern of the colorway in the blank, so that you could have 2 identical socks. So since I wasn't making socks, initially I was just going to get a single knit blank. But what I thought would be cool was that if I knit something where I use a double knit blank and I'm knitting sort of 2 halves, and maybe I was inspired by Hohi's Mystery Knit Along, the sort of 2 halves idea. But I was thinking if I knit something where I sort of knit at the same time from the ends and then knit all the way until I sort of run out of yarn and do some sort of Kitchener or seam in the middle, then the scarf itself will be kind of mirrored, so it'll be red, orange, green, blue, purple all the way to the middle, or purple, blue, green, yellow, orange, red to the middle. So I don't know. So I sort of had all these ideas going in my head. So I said to her, just send me the double knit one and we'll see what I can do with it. So that'll be fun. So I don't know when I'll work on something with this, but I just love sock blanks. So that's that. Also, sort of the last thing I got, which actually just came in the mail today, I placed an order from Eat Sleep Knit. They were having this promotion, this like golden ticket promotion. Sadly, I did not get a golden ticket in my package, but that was why I placed an order. I bought some more Madeline Tosh DK yarn in the Dr. Zhivago's Sky colorway. So this is the one that I used in my Foxtails shawl that I fell in love with. And I had 2 skeins of that DK, so I got 3 more. I just love it. I mean, it's a great color, and I was super excited to get some more. I don't know what it'll be. And it's not even showing well on the camera. Like, it's much darker of a blue than that. Maybe from here you can see it a little bit better. So I got 3 skeins of that. Then, so going into sort of the next segment, which is what's next, I started thinking about that. Like, okay, now that I'm done my sweater, now that I will soon be done my starting point knit along, I am also wrapping up the second sock on this. I didn't bring that, but I'm finishing up that second sock. The only things I'll really have going is the Lemmy K and the unnamed design for the Game of Thrones knit along. So those are kind of the 2 other main things that I'm working on. Do want to start on something else. So I know that I want to do another pair of socks with the sock blank. I know that I want to do another sweater. It will probably be the Make-A-Wish by Joey Locatelli, the cardigan in fingering weight in either color of the Huntington that I think I showed last podcast. So I know I want to start that. And then I was just kind of thinking of what else. So one of the other things I had seen is called the Exordium shawl by Rebecca Picot. So hers, she made the sample she made with 2 skeins of Hedgehog Fibers skinny singles, and then other people have made it with Madeline Tosh Merino Light as well, because it's sort of a single, and you can sort of see like the pattern itself looks really nice in a single yarn, a single ply yarn. So I was kind of looking at the different colors of skinny singles. Some of them are like super bright, and I couldn't really find, I wanted to do a variegated and a solid, and I'll put a picture so you can see what the pattern looks like. And I couldn't really find a solid of Hedgehog that I like. So the variegated one that I got, which has been sort of in my wish list, I guess, for a while, is the concrete colorway. It's showing pretty good. So it's sort of a gray, and then it has like blue and lavender and some brown, some areas that are a little darker than others. It really does kind of look like wet concrete or pavement. But I just really you know me, I like grays and blues and purples. So I bought, with my obsession with Dr. Zhivago's Sky, I bought that colorway in Tosh Merino Light, thinking it would go with this one and that this color blue would be closer to this. But I feel like they're kind of too close. I feel like this either isn't, the Tosh isn't dark enough that it's too distinguished from the gray. I don't know. I just don't really like these 2 together. But at least it's making me think about using a combination of Hedgehog Skinny Singles or Tosh Merino Light. So I'm going to kind of go into my stash. I know I have some other Tosh Merino Light and some other colors. So I may look at that, or I don't know. But I do really want to make the shawl. That's sort of one of the things that's been in my queue for a while. And then I think I talked a long time ago, too, about the Constellate hat by Hunter Hammerson. That's kind of also in my queue. So, yeah, just kind of a lot of things that I want to work on. And then Eat, Sleep, Knit, too, is having they have a bunch of knit-alongs that kind of run all year. And one of the ones that they're having that technically wraps up at the end of June, but you can get credit all year, is to use something that has a lot of silk content. So I had come up with a shawl idea, a pattern that I wanted to knit called the Harvest of Blue. I'll put the name of it below. And I have some yarn that I want to use for that, some NBK Northbound Knitting merino silk yarn. So that too has kind of been in my queue forever. So I don't know. And all of the things I've said is all fingering weight. So I don't know. I need to kind of commit to just casting on a couple of those things. But I may hold off. I may really sort of wait until I finish my Game of Thrones shawl and work more on that Lemmy K shawl. So I don't know, lots of things that are kind of next. Anyway, so thanks for watching. That's pretty much all I had to talk about today. Thank you both to people that are returning, that have watched a lot of my episodes before, and thanks and welcome to any of you that are new and that you're watching for the first time. This whole podcast thing is really fun. I've met a lot of great people, and I'm definitely going to continue to do it, whether it's every week or every 2 weeks. I'm really just enjoying kind of sharing all the things that I'm working on with you guys. Please, make some comments below, join the Ravelry group. I'm pretty active on Instagram, so come and find me there. Happy to kind of chit chat with everybody and get to know you all. So thanks again for joining. Hope you're having a fabulous weekend. If you're in an area where there's warm weather, go out there and enjoy yourself. I think I might head out there myself and enjoy some of the sun that we're having today. And until next time, keep on knitting, and we'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.